problem comes when you are not asking questions, because then either you are shy of asking questions or you feel that, if I ask questions, why to invite trouble? Because maybe my reporting partner or my reporting senior will ask me, oh, if you had this question, then how have you already completed the work? So there are people who don't want to get into that interaction. Okay, I have done the work. That's it. If it is done correctly, I'm the winner. I'm able to hide my shortcoming or the amount of work that I should have put into it. But that's being lucky. And no person can be lucky every time.
Hello and welcome to the new episode of Superlawyer YouTube channel. Today we have with Sumit Garg sir, who is the founder of Alpha Corporate Legal and an experienced lawyer with a qualified CS degree with a demonstrated history of working in legal services industry for over 18 years now. He is skilled in the matters related to mergers and acquisitions, corporate governance, SEBI, NBFC, regulatory, and white-collar crime matters. Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for agreeing to be with us here. It's an honor. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Divya. And it's really a pleasure for me to get an opportunity to come on this platform and share my experience with the budding professionals and fellow professionals as well. Because I personally believe that encouraging someone in turn encourages yourself. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Let's take it forward. And I'm looking forward to an engaging session, which I believe will add value to the budding professionals and my fellow professionals. Thank you.
Fully said, sir. Thank you so much. Let's start with the session with the very first question. When did you decide to pursue law, or why did you decide to pursue law? Or even better, who inspired you to pursue law, and what challenges did you face during the initial stages of your career? How was your journey? Please do share your experience.
So, Divya, to answer that question, first of all, I never aspired to be a lawyer. My aspiration was to become a company secretary of a listed company. And how I received that inspiration, I was in my 12th standard and was reading a newspaper. I belong to Meerut. So, in Meerut, the trend was to read those newspapers. And being in 12th, I was more conscious that what stream do I need to choose? Though I had taken up commerce in my 11th standard. So it was clear that I'm going into commerce, but yes, there was a lot of confusion whether to do CA, CS, ICWA, or go for MBA or things like that, particularly in a scenario where there's no one else in my family or extended family who is a lawyer. Everyone is an engineer or a businessman or MBAs having their own businesses and things like that. So there was no one really to guide me, or rather, it was me who never went out to seek guidance. But one fine day on a Sunday, I picked up the newspaper, and in the career section of Dainik Jagran, I read about CS and what is the role of a CS in a company, what is CS, how do they perform functions in the company. And the one thing that really resonated with me was that CS, there's only one CS in a listed company who works in tandem with the top-notch management of that company and who assists the company in each and every business decision making in terms of compliance with the laws, the disclosures to be sent, the governance aspect of it, feasibility, and everything. So that really attracted me towards choosing CS as a career path for myself. And in the evening, we were 8 friends. So we met in the evening. All of them had read that article in Dainik Jagran, and we all decided to do CS together. So that's the journey, how it started in February 1998. And we decided to go ahead for our provisional registration in CS Institute. And I still remember the day when 8 of us, we were traveling in a bus from Meerut to Delhi. And reaching the CS Institute at Lodi Road was a challenge for us because all of us were new to Delhi, despite Meerut being such a proximate city to Delhi. But having said that, that was the starting point. And as we got engaged into pursuing our CS foundation, typically, in fact, it was during our CS intermediate that we came across different laws, which was quite interesting. And that gave me an idea that why should I also not pursue law alongside, so that it gives me a few extra bucks while I work for the company, because it gives me an opportunity to work as a legal head, earning few additional money. And secondly, what was most important for me to get exposed to more and more laws to see how in practicality things work. I remember at that point in time, there was MRTP Act. and read with the Consumer Protection Act. And that gives us an insight on how to read the law. What is the meaning of flat 50% or up to 50%? And what is the meaning of that asterisk that we see T and C apply? So I started learning those nuances quite early in my academic days. And that really attracted me towards law. So as soon as I completed my BCom from Delhi University, while I was pursuing CS, so I decided to pursue law as well. So that's how I qualified my law in 2005, though I qualified my CS in 2006. And it was only in 2007 that I got myself enrolled as an advocate with the Delhi Bar Council. Because in 2007 January, I came across an opportunity where I got a chance to work on mergers and demergers. So, though I joined that office in January 2007, but still I was flirting with the idea whether to get enrolled as an advocate or not. Although I used to visit High Court on a regular basis since January 2007, wearing a black tie, except for the band, it used to be a black tie. So it was only in May 2007 that I decided to enroll myself as an advocate when I saw that, yes, this is my real calling. Yes, I have qualified, but that enhances my knowledge, and the practicality comes from practicing law as an advocate, going to courts. So that's how I became a lawyer and a practicing advocate. That's why I call myself an accidental lawyer.
Beautifully put. An accidental lawyer who has made a name for himself in many kind of legal world where corporate world starts and ends at that particular space. You have actually merged both of these things and used both company secretaryship and Bachelor of Law degree in combination so beautifully that you have built a whole sphere around you, and you also have founded Alpha Corporate Legal. Would you care to share your challenges or stories behind starting this particular company for your legal firm, and how has CS and law both helped you building that particular empire for yourself?
I think as much as I got engrossed with practicing law and with the corporate matters, more and more I got connected with it, or rather, more and more it got ingrained in my blood. So, as I shared, that I am the first generation lawyer, and for me, it was really tough to make a mark in the legal industry, or rather, to even find a job, a suitable job for myself. But as luck would have it, I started working in January 2005 before I qualified my CS or I qualified my law. One thing that really gave power to me to venture into law and with perseverance, without even begrudging my decision or without even thinking twice what have I done, is that I flouted in my CS examinations several times. I still remember I could not qualify my CS intermediate group 1 in 3 attempts. It was the third attempt that I qualified it in. And similarly, in the final stages, final level of my CS, I qualified group 2 in fourth attempt. So I completed my CS in about 8 years. I still feel that it is a matter of not being shy about it, but I openly share it because despite whatever failures you experience in your life, each failure should fill you with more motivation, more power, more zeal to qualify your professional course. And in that, I really want to mention, and it would be unfair on my part if I don't mention my teachers, Mr. Bhupesh Anand, who still teaches direct tax and financial management for CS students, and Mr. S.P. Rao, who used to teach indirect tax. So they were the ones whom I went to when I was not able to qualify my CS, my exams. And I used to go back to Merit for my CS exams. I used to impart that knowledge that I used to get in those coaching classes to my fellow friends who were pursuing CS with me. And they used to qualify the attempt, and I used to fail. So I went to Mr. S.P. Rao once and I told him that, sir, I think I'm not cut out for CS and it's not happening. So he told me in the beginning of 2006 or late 2005 that, Sumit, you write on a piece of paper, on an A4 size paper, that I will qualify my CS in June 2006 attempt, and print and fix it on the wall where your study table is. I did exactly that. And he said that follow it to the T and come and meet me after your exams in June 2006. And he also gave me one guidance that I still follow. He said, make a fist whenever you encounter a problem in your life or you are not able to solve a question, then make a fist and tell yourself that I can do it. I have to do it. And then try once again. I still follow that. And that really helped me, despite the fact that the syllabus got changed during that last attempt. And I appeared for all 8 or 9 papers, which used to happen consecutively. And I cleared that CS in that June 2006 attempt. Because, he filled my heart with that conviction that I have the ability to do it. It's just a matter of time. I need to believe in myself. I need to keep pushing, keep going on. So that really helped me in shaping up my career. So in January 2005, I started working at a position of a secretarial executive in a private limited company, which was providing secretarial services to its clients. And over there, I met with Mr. Anil Goyal, who is a chartered accountant and a company secretary and a rank holder in both of them and a self-made man. So he identified that potential in me, and he was an auditor of a listed entity at that point in time. He referred me to that listed entity to work over there. I went over there, I was interviewed, I was selected, and that's how I started working in a listed entity. And that company had the second best IPO of the year in 2005. So I said that I'm not going to miss this chance at any cost. But when I joined that company, I learned a lot from there. But I realized that my real calling is not working in a listed company because it used to leave me with so much of time, even after doing all the work, that I always used to crib for more. So, but I kept my aspirations in control because I was pursuing my CS and it used to give me time, ample time to complete my studies as well. So I stuck with that company for the time that I got qualified. And being fair to them, I did not quit that company without seeking an employment from them as an associate company secretary over there. But as luck would have it, the main company secretary over there, he got an opportunity to work with a firm which used to deal with mergers and demergers. But he passed on that opportunity to me. And I spoke to Mr. Anil Goyal, and he said that, Sumit, this is the best opportunity that you can get. And at the same time, I was selected in a very reputed company to join as a company secretary at a much higher salary than what I was offered for the job engaged in mergers and demergers, with a difference of more than double. But I chose that opportunity of working in M&A domain with Mr. Deepak Dewan. I am really grateful to him as well that he gave me the opportunity to be his first associate in his office that he had set up. And that exposed me to mergers and demergers. And in the first year itself, my first scheme was for a listed entity. And it was a demerger wherein the real estate division was getting demerged and getting parked into an SPV that we got listed under the provisions of Securities Contract Regulation Act without ever going for an IPO. So in just one night after the passing of the order, the person had a listed entity, another listed entity in his group. So that really gave me that satisfaction. Oh, really? I have done something good. So let me do something more. I was with Mr. Deepak Diwan for almost 4 years. And in those 4 years, I did almost 50, 60 schemes of mergers and demergers, including around 15 listed entities. To name a few, Spentex Industries, Jindal Drilling, Maharashtra Seamless, Ansal Group Companies, DLF, and whatnot. And while working with him in his office, I came across two, three peculiar situations wherein very unique schemes were done. So I did a scheme for the promoters of two listed entities, two brothers, and they had some family arrangement amongst themselves. And that was a scheme proposed by the shareholders of the company. Generally, in a scheme, it is the company who proposes the scheme of merger or demerger. But in that particular scenario, it was the shareholders who were proposing that scheme. So it took me almost 2 hours to convince the Delhi High Court registry that how come there are no transferee companies in this scheme. And then I did another after effect of a scheme. There was a merger of a real estate company, 15, 16 companies merged into another company. And they involved certain farmlands, farmhouses in and around airport area, which we now know as Bijwasan, Salapur, and all of that. So the client came to us, that was a merger that was already completed, and they came to us that our sale deeds for the sale of those farmhouses have been impounded by the sub-registrar Kapaseda. So we looked into that. We approached the Delhi High Court for directions for the Tehsildar or the collector of stamps to register, to de-impound, to release the impounded sale deeds and register them in favor of the buyers. So that resulted into a largest stamp duty matter of the country. I used to read a lot because I personally believe that if you have sound fundamentals, then only you can clearly apply them. So I did my research in that matter and I stumbled upon pre-independence notification under Section 9 of Indian Stamp Act of 1937. From there, I found that, okay, in the book, there is no notification number. It's only the year and the date. So let me find out more about this. And it took me almost like 2 to 3 months time to really lay my hands on the certified copy of that pre-independence notification, which was ultimately upheld by the Delhi High Court by Justice Geeta Mittal in Delhi Towers Limited matter, which became the most important highlight of my professional career, and that too at such a nascent stage of my career, because that order was passed in December 2009. And there was quite a lot hue and cry from the professional fraternity, from the corporates, that what have you done? Now the mergers will be subject to payment of stamp duty in Delhi. I said my clients have been exonerated to pay that stamp duty because of this pre-independence notification. That was my duty towards my client. So I fulfilled that duty towards my client. Yes, it has far-reaching implications, but that's it. If anybody is interested, we checked with our clients if you are interested in challenging it before the next judicial authority. But they said that no, we don't want to challenge because we have got the relief that we wanted. Then subsequently, Delhi government withdrew that pre-independence notification, and that made every mergers demergers subject to payment of stamp duty in Delhi. And taking the cue from that order, several other states they withdrew such notification, which were prevalent in their stamp duty laws. So I deviated from the question that you asked me, that how I decided to set up ACL. But these are all the turn of events which occurred in my early professional stages that, that really bound me to the law, or rather, I got married to the law because of these things.
You did not deviate from the question. You actually have beautifully answered how you got married to the law, and you are absolutely not shying away from the realities of life. Yes, it is very difficult for people to accept that there have been failures in their career as well, but it's commendable that you are accepting it with open arms, actually, and you are sharing your learning from those failures. What I believe, or what I have understood till now in my life, that yes, if you accept your failures, you'll be more successful than what you would have imagined. And I guess that is the reason why you have such amazing clients also, who tend to forget the parking charges for their planes, where you have saved them crores and crores of rupees. And how do they compliment you with all these kind of things, and how do you keep yourself so aware that you get to understand that these all nitty-gritties are also there, and you help them in saving them their not only money but their faces as well? How have you done that?
Divya, there's more to it. And while I was working with Mr. Diwan, I was quite young at that point in time. I still young at heart, but that time I was young physically as well. So, I decided to go solo. Certain things happened, and it was immediately after my marriage in November 2010. I decided to go solo. I was solo for about 6 months' time, because doing all these matters, it boosted my confidence like anything. I felt on top of the world that no, I can now conquer the industry and let me start on my own and all of that. But I faced reality very soon, and I realized it and I accepted it, that yes, I am lacking in the experience, because lawyer is a lawyer to the world. Whether you are a corporate lawyer, whether you are a criminal lawyer, whether you are an IPR lawyer, all those distinguishments, they come much later in your career. So when I faced this reality that my clients are, I'm unable to service them properly because of the lack of experience that I have. And I could not have gone to other friends or colleagues or seniors in the profession, because I personally believe that if I'm working for some client, that is my own work, because that changes the attitude when you work. I'm sure everyone will appreciate that if I'm purchasing something, if I'm going out and purchasing a car, I'll look at each and every feature of that car before I purchase that. Only then I'll decide to pay the money to the car dealer or the salesperson. So, how can anyone be lax in their attitude while working for someone else? So that attitude of treating my client's work as my own work really helped me in going that extra length for them. Because ultimately, if my client is happy, I am progressing, right? So when I realized this, I joined DMD Advocates. Earlier, at that point in time, it used to be known as Dutt Menon Dunmorset. And I'm really thankful to Mr. Rashid Heer, who is the corporate head over there, and to Ms. Anuradha Dutt, with whom I got opportunity to work a bit later in my career in DMD. So these two people, they really helped me to understand what exactly law is and how to read, how to analyze the provisions. And Mr. Rashid had recently come back to India at that point in time after working in US for 16 years. He made me learn those traits of being a true professional, true to your work, true to your client, true to yourself. All of that I learned from him. And I'll stay indebted to him, to Miss Anuradha Dutt, and to DMD, all my colleagues over there, who made me what I am today. They believed in me. And they gave me the opportunity to work for their clients. And there was no looking back after that. I was with DMD for almost 11 years. And that gave me the confidence that, okay, if I decide to go ahead independent tomorrow, I will not fail, because there are instances in DMD, there were juniors who started on their own and they are successful today. They are doing very well for themselves. So that's the kind of training that I received at DMD. And I will be indebted to them, because if I would not have worked at DMD, I would have never thought about setting up ACL. I had my highs and lows in DMD. Everyone has. And I am not shy in sharing that. There was a point in time when I did not complete my appraisal form because my performance was not up to the mark in that particular year. But after that, I determined, and I am thankful again to Rashidir that he gave me that opportunity. He believed in me. He believed in my potential that I can bounce back. And I really lived true to his expectations and I bounced back from where I was. I was at the top of my game. I lost that. Then again, I achieved that top of the game spirit. And for the next 3 years, I received the highest increments in DMD. I was promoted to principal associate and I worked on several matters which are for various MNCs. I started working on regulatory matters, representing my clients before SEBI, Enforcement Directorate, CBI, RBI. That really gave me the real platform to bring out my instincts as lawyers. And over there, I learned another very important aspect of being a lawyer, and that is that a lawyer never gives up. And that's the reason why this fraternity is the strongest professional fraternity, I think, across the globe. So it was in July 2021 that I had finished one assignment, a major assignment of a scheme of demerger, which was part of a larger global disposition by a client. So after that, that gave me some time to think what I really want to do in life. Although I had no complaints on the quality of work that I was doing, on the remuneration part or the culture in the office, it was all top notch. But I wanted to do something more because working for a law firm doesn't give you time to do that extra bit. So I took sabbatical from DMD for some time to mull over the options, what I want to do. But again, luck really played an important factor in my life. So 13th July 2021 was my last working day in DMD before my sabbatical. And 14th July, an old friend come client called me up out of the blues and he said that, what are you doing these days? And my sabbatical has just started from today and I'm going for a vacation with my family and friends. So as of now, nothing. So he said, I am hiring you right now at this moment as my outside general counsel and I'll pay you this much. मैंने कहा, but I'm going for a vacation. I don't want to work for the next 15-20 days. He said that no, your retainership has started from today itself, and I'll not call you up. I'll not approach you for any work during your vacation. And even after coming back from the vacation, you come and meet me and we'll figure it out. So that's how I got my first client. And during those 15-20 days of vacation, I discussed this with my wife because she is an integral part of my life and an important person to discuss what I'm going to do in my professional career, particularly at a point in time when my son was getting ready to get admitted in a school. He was starting his journey in school. So my wife said to me, are you mad? What are you going to do? You are going to leave DMD and are you going to start your own? How will we pay our bills and EMIs and all of that? So I told her that, see, while working in DMD, I have saved enough money that I can go on for a couple of years, even if I don't earn anything. So she said, I am giving you only 1 year. If you are successful in convincing me that yes, you can earn enough, which can take care of the family needs without putting a dent into our savings, then I am good with that. So I said that, okay, 1 year is good enough for me. And that's how I came back and I thought about it a lot that what should be the name of the office. I particularly never wanted my name on the board, that Sumit Garg and Associates or Sumit Garg Advocates or SG Advocates or things like that, because I wanted to create an organization which is not related to me, where anybody can come and contribute without feeling that this is not my office. So that's why I said that we have to be on top of our games. We are alpha males of this industry. So let's keep the name Alpha Corporate Legal. So immediately I called up a friend who works into the IT industry, and he got the domain name registered for me. My email was set up and I started working from home. So that's how ACL came into picture, came into being, came into existence. And still, ACL is a proprietorship concern because I am looking for the right person to be a partner who is at the same wavelength as me, who can give the same kind of commitment and time to the client, value to the client, so that the objective that I have in mind, client service, is met with right intent and spirits. And I personally believe that the associates that are working in my office with me, they should step up and become partners. That will give me the ultimate happiness that my colleagues with whom I started my journey are my partners in this office. So it is their office. It is not my office. I always tell them that it is your office. You decide what is best for office. You plan the policies. You take up the work with the client, but be available to the client. Be accountable to the client. Be responsible to the client. If you are getting late in delivering your deliverable to the client, own it, send an email to the client, get in touch with the client and tell him why it is getting delayed and ask for more time. Because one thing peculiar that I have noticed in this legal industry, being spent almost 20 years or close to 20 years in the profession, that people, they started dodging their clients if they have not sent the delivery. Why should the client follow up with you? It should be you who should be proactive and reach out to your client and tell them that, oh, my apologies, I was stuck in the court, or I was doing some more research, or tell the reality, and the client will not bite you. They will even respect you more for being truthful and honest and forthcoming. That's what I tell all my colleagues or whosoever comes to me for seeking guidance, that how should I progress further in my career. These are the traits that I have learned the hard way, but if I can impart these traits to my fellow colleagues or people who are less experienced than me, then why not? So that's my philosophy to when I say that I need to give back to the society, give back to the profession. And that's what this ACL journey in ACL is all about.
Absolutely amazing, honest, truthful, mindful journey that you have shared with us. It's absolutely pertinent that if you are honest with others, they also respect you much more than what they would have if you dodge their questions or dodge their calls, which, as you rightly said, many people start doing once they have not done or accomplished the work which has been given to them. On that note, I would like to ask about your involvement with startup ventures, because I guess you are very much involved into helping them as well. But major question there would be to understand the psychology of the young aspirants or aspiring entrepreneurs who, regarding to the legal aspect, they try and take more risk in terms of not having absolute legal team ready for them from the very start, and later they suffer because of that. So how do you adjust to this particular thought process of startups, and how do you help them or train them in case they have come in the start and once they have gotten into some trouble and come to you at a later stage? Please, sir.
So, Divya, you are absolutely right. This generally happens because not that anybody wants to cut on costs, but entrepreneurs, they want to focus on the business because that's their passion, that's their vision to grow the business. But some entrepreneurs, they have a wider vision that whatever I am doing, I need to do it right. And if I have the right team, because setting up the business team is the most important thing. And I personally feel that setting up the legal compliance team is the second most important. Because if my business or the way of doing business is not in compliance with the applicable law, then there will be no business soon. So there is a paradigm shift in the psychology of the entrepreneurs, which used to be 10, 15, 20 years back. Now they don't see the legal team as a cost center. They invest in the legal team and they see it as an integral part of the business. Because when the business is new, there are so many challenges that come up in terms of managing the team, setting up the business. The money is also less in the beginning. You are looking for funding and all of that. So sometimes the promoters or the entrepreneurs, they try to cut down on the legal cost by not hiring the legal guy or not going for legal advice. In fact, last night only, I was on a call with a foreign client who had set up a company in India a few years back. And although they were not shy to spend the money, but they did not get the right people on the team to advise them properly. And that works as a checkpoint for the Indian entrepreneurs, because when funding happens, the person who is giving his hard earned money and investing into a startup want that startup to succeed. Now it is up to the promoter that they find a suitable person, a lawyer or a corporate lawyer or a legal person, to handhold them and help them navigate through the processes of the law, so that they are focusing on the business and at the same time on the legal aspects of it, that they are doing everything legally. So from that perspective, my suggestion to the entrepreneurs is always to hire a person, the right guy, to support them in all the legal decision making, all the business decisions, so that those business decisions, they stand the test of time, test of the law, if required at a future date. Second, I suggest them to be transparent, because if I'm doing a business, it is not necessary that I'll take 100% right decisions. It may be a wrong business decision, but if that wrong business decision has been taken, accept it, learn from it, and go to your investors, tell them with full honesty that this is the decision, why you made this decision, and what changed, why it has come out to be a wrong decision, and what you are planning to make it right. What are the corrective steps that you are planning to take? Because another important aspect over here that I want to highlight is that we always look at the problem. There are very few professionals who look at the solution as well. We have to be solution oriented in life. We can't be just looking at the closed doors. If one door has closed, we have to look at other five doors that have opened for us. So be transparent with your business partners, with your employees, with your vendors, with your customers, everyone. Because transparency is the key to grow your business, to scale up your business. And then discussing with your friends, making bonds of friendship, because an employee is not just an employee in my company, he's a vital component of my business. So he's no more an employee, he becomes a family to me. But at the same time, there are businesses who call employees their families, but still it's only a lip service, because there's always a limit to what one person can achieve in one's life. Unless I have the support of my team members, unless I really make a family out of my team members, I will not be a successful person. And I always tell them that don't try to cut on your budgets for legal and compliance, because one wrong compliance and it may become a big hindrance for your future fundraising or for obtaining licenses for your businesses. So it's very important to maintain those high levels of integrity if you really want to create a scalable business. Other than this, if you have focused on these things, if you have covered up all these aspects, then I think it only requires a lot of passion to build the business then. And if the person has the right passion, he will scale it up and will make a name for himself. I particularly remember one client whom I served in 2012. He was the creator of a very, very established brand in the F&B sector with a large conglomerate in India working into the consumer goods. He sold off his stake, a minority stake in that company, and he started an F&B company for himself where he was the 100% owner. He had a proven track record and he was so passionate about food and how it is served, how it is prepared, that he scaled up his startup in just 3 years. He got a funding of 18 CR, then 100 CR, 1 year after that, 50 CR, then another 1 year after that, 100 CR. And he made up almost like 10, 15 brands, dominant brands in the F&B sector. He has restaurants in India, outside India. We did a master franchise agreement for him at the global level. And he was true to himself. He was true to his investors. He was true to his employees. He was true to his partners. That's why he could scale his business with such a great pace. And I'm still associated with him. And I take pride in it that I am part of that organization. It gives you a different level of satisfaction, you see, because earning money is not everything. At least for me, earning those relations, earning those satisfaction levels is the most important thing for me. And that's what I try to inculcate in my team as well.
Wow, what a beautiful way of explaining these things, of building relationships, how to have better communications, how to be truthful, how to be honest. Absolutely amazing way of explaining these things. Taking all of these kind of learnings, I would like to move forward and ask you about your experience related to educating people, giving them lectures, interacting with students, new entrants. What are your observations about the upcoming generation of legal professionals and the kind of challenges probably they are going to face with the kind of technologies that are upcoming, and the way law is also changing in relation to the kind of disruptive tech which we are now seeing? It has taken shape. And how do you see, when you guide them or when you lecture them, how do you convince them that they can make a name for themselves along with being truthful and honest? What all are your guidance to them, and how do you make sure that they do not get disheartened by big names and try and make a name for themselves?
Divya, I always share my failures more than the successes that I have had in the past, because we all know that all professionals are on LinkedIn and other blogs, podcasts, and all of that. So there's a lot of digital content that is available online these days. But just mechanically going through those digital content doesn't give you that zeal, or it doesn't resonate with you. So that's the reason why I love to have face to face interactions rather than virtual interactions. But we have to move with the technology, with the times, current times. So I am adapting myself to virtual hearings, virtual interactions, and all of that. But still, my first preference is physical, face to face interaction. The biggest trait that youngsters these days today have is the clarity of the thought that what they want to pursue in their professional careers. When I had joined law in 2007, I used to work on everything, be it a corporate M&A transaction, be it general corporate, be it IPR related, because IPR is also something that is very important for any business. And while you are negotiating your corporate agreements, M&A agreements, a good amount of time and efforts are put on negotiating the IPR as well. So I got to know almost like 6, 7, 8 years into the profession what I exactly want to do. But today's youngsters, they know what exactly they want to do. If they want to go into corporate side, they want to go into the IPR side, they want to go into the criminal side, they want to go on the civil commercial litigation side, or in the family law, practice of the family laws. So they are very clear about that. And the reason why they are clear about it, because there is a lot of content that is available on the internet these days, which gives them the insight, deep insights into how to choose a career, how to choose that specialized field for themselves. But my suggestion to them is always that in the first 5 years of your career, do everything, whatever come your way. Do everything. Get a sense of what the other practice area is. Then you decide which one is the best for you. Because you would have had a chance to explore your skill sets against those specific IP or areas of practice. Then only you can take an informed decision. Second strength that they have is that they have their priorities right. Means we interact with the budding lawyers, with youngsters for hiring purposes as well. They are not shy in asking questions that what are the timings of the office? What are the working days in office? I remember in 4, 5 interviews, whatever I have given in my life so far, I never dared to ask these kind of questions. My objective used to be secure the job, but they ask those questions which I respect, and rather I give them the opportunity first to ask questions, because if they know that okay, if the work culture, the conditions at work, the working hours, if they are fine with them, then only we go to the next step of technical evaluations, because why to waste their time or my time? So these are the few strengths that I have noticed over a period of years that are now already inculcated in the freshers who come to the industry. And I will not hesitate even a bit in saying that these are absolute questions that everyone should ask, because work life balance is also very important. I know so many colleagues of mine, those who have burnt out in initial 5 years of their career. If you have to run the marathon, you have to train yourself for that. It's not a sprint that we are running. It's a marathon that we are running. So we have to have that kind of perseverance, that conviction, that endurance, power to endure, that we are able to do all of that. And we complete our marathon, not leave it in between. So youngsters have a lot of questions. How do I do it? And what I have learned is ask as many questions as you want. Because if you are asking questions, that means you are eager to learn. The problem comes when you are not asking questions, because then either you are shy of asking questions, or you feel that, if I ask questions, why to invite trouble? Because maybe my reporting partner or my reporting senior will ask me, oh, if you had this question, then how have you already completed the work? So there are people who don't want to get into that interaction. Okay, I have done the work. That's it. If it is done correctly, I'm the winner. I'm able to hide my shortcoming or the amount of work that I should have put into it. But that's being lucky. And no person can be lucky every time. I used to wonder while I was with DMD that how come my reporting partners are able to grasp that thing that I've missed in my document instantly. Now I know that with 15, 20 years of experience backing you up, you get to know in a moment that how much amount of work has gone into a document.
That's actually very true. The way you're explaining, I'm remembering so many days when our teachers used to explain to us that you are not doing the right thing at the right moment. I just wanted to quickly ask you, since you brought in that aspect of work life balance, you are an absolutely accomplished professional. How do you manage that particular work life balance? And if possible, if you could share any personal experience or hobby or any way to approach that particular task, because that also has become a very pertinent issue in lives, that we face burnout very early, like you rightly said. So how have you managed so far, and how do you make sure that your team also learns that from you?
My hobby is to sing and play guitar. Although I have not played guitar in the longest of the time, but I usually don't miss the opportunity of singing whenever I get it in social gatherings or at other forums. Maybe even if it is two lines. But there's another thing, that's the hobby. I think spirituality also plays a very important role in everyone's life. Maybe we don't realize it when we are young, but as the time progresses, spirituality gives you that what you call therav, the wisdom to understand what is going on. And I was quite fortunate that when I was meeting the lady who is my now wife, but before we got married, she practices Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism, which is a philosophy, a Buddhist philosophy. So I got introduced to that, and I have been practicing and following that philosophy of Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism, which has really helped me in achieving spirituality in my life. And that has taught me how to take the responsibility of each and everything that is happening in my life. Because this philosophy is a philosophy of cause and effect. The causes that I create today, I will see the effects of those. So that's the philosophy that keeps me grounded, keeps me humble, and it gives me the power to go on. And this philosophy also teaches me to take the accountability of everything. And it also teaches us that your happiness is also very important. But once you are happy, you are duty bound to spread that happiness to the people in your life, irrespective of their social status. Be it a guard in your society, be it a domestic help at your house, be it the cook, be it your driver, any person, your colleagues, your wife, your kids, your mentors. Gratitude, it teaches you to be grateful to everything in your life. So that is something that is very, very close to my heart. And that is also one of the factors on my Buddhist faith. I established ACL. And that's why I am able to bring that humanistic touch to all the people in my life when I deal with them, when I speak to them. And that's how it keeps me level headed. And I devote quite a lot of time for my Buddhist activities. And I encourage my fellow colleagues as well to at least learn about it, because no philosophy is going to harm you. You can learn what you feel good about it and leave the rest. So that's my hobby, that's my passion, that's my philosophy that I follow. And that really helps me in doing good for my clients, for my associates, for my family, for my friends. And that demonstrates, that brings out that humane nature that we all have innate in our personalities. But we sometimes tend to forget to be a human being in the rush of this life. So be human, be humane to everyone. Everyone is a human being. If you don't like something happening in your life because of someone, you can't do that same thing for other person. So I personally believe, I verily believe that if I don't like something, then I'm sure the other person will also not like it if that happens to the other person. And precisely that's the reason why, keeping the work life balance in mind, I decided that ACL will work only 5 days a week, not 7 days a week, or which is generally the trends in the law firms. But still, as I said, that when it becomes important, then we work on Sundays also. We work overnight as well. But that seldom happens at ACL. Because if you are managing your work in an efficient manner, then there is no need to work overnight. There's no need to work on weekends. And another thing that I have really inculcated in the work environment of ACL is that if a person is on leave, we don't call that person, we don't write emails to that person, we don't disturb that person, because that gives the time to the person to spend time with their families and to unwind themselves from the strenuous job of being a lawyer.
You're practically honoring the code to the T, which usually the biggest corporates follow, that do not disturb a person when they are on vacation. Especially it is followed in developed world, I would say. They believe in working when they are in office, and they believe in not being disturbed when they are not in office. And it's absolute beauty that you have started that culture with your firm itself. So would you care to share some thoughts about your own ACL, whether you are going to expand it, how are you going to introduce more people to it, and what are your future plans related to that? Because the kind of philosophy that you are talking about, people would crave to join such firms where they have this liberty of being on leave without being disturbed. So that being said, I would request you to share some views about that as well, and it'll be amazing to know that such firms exist.
So, Divya, I'll clarify one thing over here, that when I said that we don't disturb, unless it is absolutely urgent, only then we disturb our associates. Otherwise, I hate to disturb them when they are not working. Because I also don't want to be disturbed while I'm with my family. So it's a two-way street. It cannot be a one-way traffic. So as I said that I'm in no hurry to expand ACL. I see LinkedIn posts that we have now 500 lawyers in our office. We are growing at a 2x pace, or we have opened up this office, that office. Okay, that's good. That's something encouraging for people like us. But particularly if I talk about ACL, I'm in no hurry to expand, because I want to expand with the humanistic approach gradually, not instantaneous. Because I am here to stay. I am here for a longer duration. It is my marathon that I am running. It's not a sprint. I don't want to be a fly by night operator. So at ACL, God has been kind. And I really want to express my gratitude towards my clients as well. Those who entrust us with such intricate tasks and, believing in us, because getting client to such a small office is not an easy task, not for me, not for the client as well. But because of my experience in the industry and the kind of work that I have done, the word of mouth is spreading at quite a good pace. And we have recently completed 3 years in ACL. And in these 3 years, we have worked on acquisition of a listed entity by another large group, one of the top five groups in India, Indian groups in India. Those who acquired media companies represented the media company in their acquisition through the SEBI route, through the SEBI takeover code. So that was one of the few first assignments of a listed company that we did in ACL. Then, because of my relationship with my clients that I served at DMD, some of them immediately connected with me to take them in. But because I had spent 11 years, almost 11 years in DMD, and I have learned the highest level of integrity lessons from DMD people. So, although there was no contract that I had executed with DMD, but still I decided on day one itself that I'm not going to take in any client that I have served in DMD for at least 6 months. That was my honesty towards my workplace, from where I have learned a lot. Because I never wanted to give any kind of ideas to anyone that I'm poaching some client. Although there was one particular client who was hell bent that, no, Sumit, if you are going from here, then I want to move with you. And it so happened that that client I had introduced in my office. So my managing partner was kind enough to give me those files and say that, okay, you go ahead and do the best for this client. And for that client, I was representing that client before Securities Appellate Tribunal against the penalty and debarment orders against that client, wherein the penalty of 10 crore 25 lakhs was imposed on that client with a debarment period of 5 years on not just the company but the promoters as well and the directors. That penalty got reduced to just 25 lakh rupees. And it was the first company to get a relief from Securities Appellate Tribunal in those GDR related matters amongst 70, 80 matters, similar matters going on in SEBI and SAT at different levels. So that's the kind of commitment that I keep for my client. And that's what connects me to my clients, not just for one transaction, but for life. Then few clients came back to me, those who I still cater to. But we signed those engagement letters only after a lapse of those time frame. And I still work for them. And the client list was only expanding. Another important client that we got was, and again, a listed entity in the travel sector. And they entrusted us with the task of acquisition of majority stake in three domestic companies. So, with a team of just three people, we successfully completed those transactions, which involved drafting of the definitive agreements, negotiating them with the selling shareholders, structuring the transaction. And the transaction was unique because there was no cash consideration that was given to the selling shareholders while acquiring those companies. It was through share swap. So the listed company issued its own shares as consideration for purchasing the majority stake in those three domestic companies. So the next stage in the assignment after the execution of the definitive agreements was that we had to obtain the in principle approvals from the stock exchanges for the listing of those newly issued shares, which came through successfully. Then we applied for the listing of those shares by making listing applications with the stock exchanges, which also came through. Then the last step was to obtain the trading approvals from the stock exchanges, which also came by. And that's how we successfully closed that transaction for a listed entity. And looking at our approach to the work and our availability and our commitment levels, they entrusted us with three more overseas acquisitions this time. So I take immense pride in how we approach these assignments. We work a lot on SEBI related matters. We recently represented an individual who came to us who did not have the money to pay our fees, but we took that client in with a fee figure, substantially discounted figure, which we gave him the liberty to pay whenever he has the bandwidth to pay. Because doing work for someone free of cost, then it loses value of that. The person doesn't value them. So even if you charge 1% of your fee that you would have normally charged, but then also, you give the opportunity to that client to retain that self-respect for himself, while at the same time retaining the value of your work that he will hold in his eyes that you have done for him. And I am very happy to share that we represented him, and over a period of several hearings with the whole time members, we were able to get him exonerated from all the things that were alleged against him. So that gives a satisfaction to you. And there was a team member who was working with me on this assignment who left ACL because of his health issues. I made sure that I call him up and inform him that we have won this matter and there's such a beautiful outcome that we have achieved. And that's how I plan to grow ACL, with every person associated with ACL to have that human touch to everything that they do, the highest level of commitment that they have, that they can offer to the clients, to the colleagues, and to the office itself.
What a beautiful thought, sir, that you want to not only grow your organization organically, but make it more human and client centric, because yes, we are here to serve clients. And an absolutely honest interview. The beauty of it was that you were absolutely true to yourself, that I will talk about my failures as well as my successes without having any shyness in it. And I'm really, really thankful that Namrata brought in this interview. She invited you and you graciously accepted it. I thoroughly have enjoyed this particular honest interview. Thank you once again, sir, for being here and to be with us at Super Lawyer interview. It's an amazing experience today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I feel responsible for the fellow colleagues, the new generation who is coming into law. I feel responsible for them, and that's the only reason why I do it. And I'll be more than happy, and it gives purpose to my life. Everyone lives for themselves, but while you are living for yourself, for your family, you live for others as well. That again, what I have learned from my Buddhist philosophy that I practice. So a lot of gratitude goes to the Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism that I follow, to my wife, to my parents who never stopped me from exploring a new path, who always stood thick and thin with me in times of distress, equally as in times of happiness. So whenever in future you feel like I am required or I can give my inputs to something, I'm pretty much open to that. And it would be my complete pleasure to be helpful and to be available for my fellow friends.
So nice of you, sir. Thank you so much. We'll let our learners know here as well that sir is absolutely humble to either the new entrants of the law, learners of the law, or even the people who have a lot of experience. Nothing like it that you can actually reach out to someone for guidance, for learning from his experiences, and so many other things. Thank you so much, sir, for being so open and being so humble and ground to earth that you are approachable, at least in today's busy world, for learners to learn from you. Thank you so much. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.